Okay, everybody, this is the third video where we're going to be styling a login form. Here's our login form as it is right now. The last thing we did was center it. Here's what it will look like. Okay, so we centered it. Now we want to add some padding to the form and to the inputs. Alright, so right now this white thing is the form. So I'm going to go to the form, add some padding, and then let's see, 40, that's too much, 10, alright, that's good. 10 pixels of padding. So if I zoom in a little bit, you can kind of see better. This little gap here is the padding, those little dashes. Alright, and then for the input, let's give it the same amount of padding, why not? Padding, 10 pixels. So you see, now there's padding in here. So if you had typed in words, this is the space inside of it. Alright, I'll just type in. Okay. What next? Up here. Alright, border to the form and the inputs. Okay, so what I want to do is add a border to the form and the inputs. We'll start off by picking a color. I want to use like a dark color. So this will be like a dark gray, something like this. We'll copy that. And we're going to use this color for the border for the form and the inputs. Alright, so here, border, 1 pixel solid that. Alright, so there we have this border on the outside here. And you see that these inputs already have a really awful border by default. And this border looks different in different browsers. So that's really the reason we're giving it a border, just so that it'll look the same in every browser. So I'm going to just copy this, come down here, and paste it here. So now they all have the same border. Okay? Alright, so let's see. So we added the border. Now we want to align the label text and add padding to the right. So if you look over here, username and password, they're aligned to the right. So they're right up next to the input. That's what we want to do. So we're going to go down to the label, and we are going to add text align to the right. To the right there. And then they're a little too close, so we got to give it some padding on the right. Padding right, like 5 pixels or so. That's just a little bit of space here. Otherwise, it's too close. Alright, so that looks fine. What's next? So we did number 7. Add margin below each div. Okay. So right now, all the inputs are touching, which is not what we want. We want it to be, we want some space in between. So we're going to add some margin below each div. Alright, so let's go over here. What is this? Oh, yeah. So we go down here, div, and margin bottom. And how much space should we use? 5 pixels. And notice it adds a margin below each and every div. That's this blue line. And something we want to do, which I think is the next thing, remove margin from the last div. Okay, so we want to get rid of the margin from the last div because we want the space on each side to be the same. Like the top and the bottom should be the same amount of space. And right now they're not. It's not very, very noticeable. But if this was like, 15, then you would notice like this space here and this space are way different. So we want to make sure the space on the top here and the space on the bottom is the same so it looks nice and pretty. That's what we want in our form. Okay, so we want to select only this last div. This last div here. So that means we have to make it differ from the other divs. So we give it a class. We'll call it class is equal to last. And I will copy this since I don't want to type it. And instead of selecting all divs, I'll select just the last one. And I will set the margin to 0. Now, this space is the same as this space. And there's space in between each div. So everything is beautiful. Next, number 10, update the background colors. Alright, so we're done with this orange and yellow. We're going to get rid of those. They were just temporary. So let me delete the orange. And I'll delete the yellow. Here's that. Okay. So that's that. Notice the login, submit text, what is it? The input, submit input. There we go. It has like a light gray background color by default. Now, different browsers are going to have different colors, so we got to change that. And so over here, we're just going to use whatever color we used for the borders for the login button. So that would be down here, this button, this submit input, and we're going to use this class is equal to button to select it, so here, because we don't want all inputs to have that same background color. And let's see, so we do background color, and we want to use this color. This is the border, so we use that same color. Alright, so here we go. Here it is. And we want to change the text to white so we can read it. It's important. White. Alright, so we have that. Great. Alright. So let's see. Update the background colors. Okay, we did that. Focus and hover. Like if you notice, when you hover over these things, they change. Also, if you click in one, you hit tab, and you tab through them, they change. Tabbing through them, this is focus. Mousing over them is hover. But we want them both to be styled the same. And we want to use a color. So right now I'm using like some pretty blue. So right now, nothing happens, it's not changing. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to do, what do? I do input, focus, comma, so we're going to do focus, input, hover. So we're going to select both of these at the same time, focus and hover, because we want them to be the same color. And I want to make them some kind of a pretty blue. So let's go to blue. I could, that color, I don't know. That's nice, nice and pretty. Copy that. And what do we want? We want the button, the background color, to turn to blue. And for these two guys, we want the text to be blue and the border to be blue. Okay. So we'll do them separately. So we want all inputs. Input. Actually, why am I doing it here? Oh yeah. Oh, I already did the. Sorry. Anyway, so border color. That'll be that pretty blue for all inputs. And the text color will also be that color. Why did I put border and bottom color? Border color. So the border color and then the text color. So look, text color. Wait, here we go. Okay, so here we have the border and the text color is now that blue. And this one down here, so the same thing. So what we want to do is make another rule just for the last one. So instead of all inputs, we do dot button here and here. And we want the background color and that should be white. There we Okay, so for all inputs, the border changes to blue and the text changes to blue. And then this guy will select only this input and change the background color to blue and the text color to white. Alright, so there's that. And let me stop there for this video. We'll see you in a minute.